Welcome to this episode of Comparison University, Building Insights. Once you've created your project, defined your comparison, and uploaded data, now it's time to get into the results of the comparison. Now, up here at the top of the screen, you have filters that are going to help you navigate between the different elements of the analysis that Relative Insight has performed. And the objective here is to comb through and pull out the most interesting, relevant, and actionable findings onto what we call insight cards. The insight cards are the output of your project, and they can be used to collate your ideas and share your findings with stakeholders. So to look at a few examples of that, let's look at our list here. And right now we're looking at differences in topics applicable to British gamers. So what we're seeing is a list of all of the topics that occur with a higher prevalence among British gamers than their American counterparts. And if we go down here, we see the topic of beauty is occurring with a relative difference of 1.7 times. Now, how to interpret this is that when talking about video games, Brits are nearly 1.7 times more likely than their American counterparts to invoke the topic of beauty. And I'm thinking to myself that this is definitely relevant, for my stakeholders who are working on building a new marketing campaign for a new product launch. But before I decide for sure that this is something I want to tell them about, I'm going to click in to see the detail behind this, right? And what I'm seeing here is all of the words that contribute to this topic. And what this is telling me is that of all of the mentions of the topic beauty in my data, 33% are coming from the word beautiful, 18% from the word stunning, 10% from the word pretty, so on and so forth. Now, what I'm going to do here, because I think this is really interesting, really relevant for my stakeholders, I'm going to hover over, click the light bulb icon, which is going to allow me to create an insight. So here I might say that Brits love the visuals, and my description might be incorporate lots of visual elements in marketing campaign, right? What we want to do here is we want to showcase the visual components of the game as a way to entice the British audience. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. That's going to save that insight, and we'll go have a look at those in terms of how to customize and export those insight cards in the next episode. But for now, let's keep on combing through the analysis here. For example, if we go up here, we see the topic of price is occurring with a relative difference nearly 50 times. So Brits are way more likely than their American counterparts to invoke the topic of price. In particular, this is being driven by the use of the word cheaper. So what this is telling me is that Brits are more cost conscious when it comes to video games than Americans. So again, I'm going to create an insight here. I might call it Brits are cost conscious. And my description might be consider aggressive pricing strategy. And click create. So once again, I'm saying that's important, that's relevant. I'm going to bookmark this so that I can share it with my stakeholders. Now, if we go in to look at a different element of the analysis, so for example, differences in phrases, we're going to see, instead of topics, we're going to see all of the phrases that occur with a higher prevalence in the British data set compared to the American data set. And right here, near the top, I see this phrase, even cheaper. And I think to myself, this relates to something that I've already found in my data, right? This relates to that topic of price. So instead of creating a new insight, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click the plus button to add it to an existing insight. So I'm essentially grouping those ideas together into one theme or one insight. So I'm going to click the plus button here, select from the drop-down Brits are cost conscious, and click add. And really, where you're going to spend most of your time in the platform is combing through the analysis here, finding things that stand out to you as being particularly relevant, and then bookmarking the ones that do by creating new insights or combining them with other things that you've already found. And if you need more context around any of these, you can click in to see verbatim examples from the analyzed text itself. And this is a really great tool for building your story and really understanding how a particular linguistic feature is being used.